At the Infinite Stratos Academy, our protagonist, Ichika Orimura, is introduced as the transfer student by the assistant teacher, Maya. Usually, a school transfer would not have been too big of a deal, but Ichika had transferred to an all-girls school since he is pretty much the only male who can pilot the robotic armours called the Infinite Stratos, nicknamed IS. Ichika instantly gets quite popular in class, as one would expect after being a single guy in all-girls school, and we get to meet Ichika's sister, Chifuyu Orimura, who is quite popular at school alongside being the first IS pilot to win a championship. Chifuyu is appointed as the homeroom teacher of Class 1, and Ichika, who was quite troubled by all the stress at the academy, is invited to the rooftop by a random girl, who turns out to be his childhood friend and kendo master, Houki Shinono. Our guy turns out to be lacking the brains, as in class he is having quite a hard time catching up to the other students, making Chifuyu give him the glare. Ichika confronts Houki after school in her kendo uniform, and she starts attacking him after getting angry, as she comes to know that Ichika will be sharing rooms with her. The next day at school brings more problems for our guy, as he is approached by another girl who seems to be quite proud of herself. Her name is revealed to be Cecilia Alcott, a student who transferred here from England. Cecilia seems to be quite arrogant and being superior, and doesn't quite get along with our meathead protagonist. Later at lunch, Ichika is eating with Houki when the two get accompanied by even more girls, making Houki angry for no reason yet again, as if this was Ichika's fault. I mean, he's the only guy around, so Houki should be expecting some competition, no? Later on, Cecilia, who was already not right in the head straight off the bat, starts arguing with our guy when the matter of selection for the class rep comes up. The two end up deciding to settle the matters with a standard IS duel for the class rep position, where Ichika would become Cecilia's slave if he lost. I'm not sure how fair that is. With the negotiations finalized, Chifuyu informs Ichika that he will be using a custom suit, as the usual one was only made by Houki's older sister in a limited number before she left the facility. As our smart guy challenged Cecilia without knowing much, he proceeded to request Houki to teach him more about the fight. Houki tended to act cold at the start, but agreed when Ichika dragged her out by her hand. The two sit down at lunch, where Ichika formally requests her about helping him out. Mr. Popular here is offered by another girl some training, but Houki humbled her by claiming that she knows more about the IS since her sister made them. The kendo training started the next day, and Mr. Meathead turned out to be not the best at kendo either, as he got beaten badly during the session a lot. Ichika is observing Cecilia's personal IS the next day before the match was about to start, when Maya informs him about the arrival of his own custom suit named the Byakushiki. Ichika felt some connection with the suit upon his first time touching it, and Chifuyu helps him out with the initial preparations. The duel starts as Cecilia arrives in her blue custom suit as well, and takes full advantage of her long-range abilities, until Ichika manages to transform his suit to the first phase on the first try. With the new transformation, Ichika starts to use his energy blade, making the match more even. The fight continues, and just when Ichika goes ahead to deliver the final big blow, his suit's power ends up running out, making Cecilia the automatic winner of the duel alongside being the class rep. After the match, Chifuyu explains what happened during the battle that caused Ichika's suit to run out of power, and Maya proceeds to explain more before giving our guy an instruction manual on the IS, making him more scared than he was for his first fight. A training day arrives with the class going through a piloting observation. Since Ichika had a suit beforehand, he displayed how the IS works to the rest of the class alongside Cecilia, who seemed quite friendly now. Chifuyu tells the two about demonstrating a nosedive, and while Cecilia did it without any problems, our genius protagonist mistook it for planting his own head straight into the ground. Later on, a little ceremony is held for the class rep where Cecilia gives away her position as the class rep to Ichika, as her way of apologizing for the verbal abuse of the past days. Cecilia seemed to be interested in Ichika as well now, wanting to take a photo, when it turned out that she is not the only one, as literally every girl around them wanted to get an opportunity at having a photo with our guy. The next day brought the rumor of a new transfer student who had just gotten into class 2. The girl comes up to Ichika's class introducing herself as Ling Huang from China. Lin turns out to be Ichika's childhood friend as well, and their closeness leads to the jealousy of Houki and Cecilia. The girls get their minds cooled after treating the guy quite hard in the training session later on, and Ichika ends up meeting Lin when he is cooling off in the locker room. He somehow manages to reveal the fact that he is sharing a room with Hoki, which led to his second childhood friend asking Hoki to move out of jealousy. Hoki obviously doesn't accept, and our guy managed to make another girl angry at him yet again, leading her to sort the matter out in a league battle later on. The match arrives as Ichiki prepares to fight Lin in her custom suit with not much experience and two girls in his corner. Ichika's second duel at the academy begins with a bang as the seemingly balanced fight turns out to be a little tricky when Lin shoots out the guy with her sonic cannon, making long-ranged combat not the most suitable. Ichika decides to push forward toward Lin to get an opportunity and remembers how Chifuyu taught him about his sword techniques in the training drills. Ichika sets up Lin for the attack, but just before he could get close, a random explosion disturbs the whole match. It turns out that another IS had entered the premises of the academy with the intention of harming the students. Chifuyu evacuates the girls when Ichika decides that he and Lin should hold the IS back. The enemy IS seems to be quite strong, but Ichika sees an opportunity after realizing that it is just a robot and can be tricked. With the help of Cecilia, who arrives to back up the two a minute later, the three students combine their powers, and Ichika manages to catch the opening the girls had arranged for him, successfully defeating the IS while getting injured himself. Our guy wakes up in the infirmary where Lin talks with him a little as she had forgiven him for his actions earlier. The little sweet moment between the childhood friends gets disrupted when the other two girls arrive and Ichika has to go through the same girly trouble again. While all this is going on, Chifuyu is shown to be commencing experiments on the defeated IS with Maya, where the two find out about the extra cores of the bot. With all the ruckus constantly going on inside the academy, Ichika decides to go visit his male friend for once, as that might be a good change of pace. The dudes are playing games when Ichika's friend's sister named Rin arrives and makes it seem that she is interested in Ichika as well. Yes, romantically. I genuinely have no idea what this guy even did to get so much attention. What the fuck? Rin tries to make Ichika relay her feelings by being nice to him, but our meathead protagonist does the exact same thing that he has been doing throughout the journey and acts like he is not aware of literally anything. Back at the academy dorms, Maya arrives in Ichika's room and tells him that she had arranged another room for Hoki, as the two should not share a room together at 15 years of age. Hoki accepts the move after hoping for some sort of resistance from Ichika, and before leaving, makes a deal on how Ichika would take her on a date if she won the upcoming tournament. Ichika agrees to the deal without thinking much, just like always, and the age of technology leads the agreement to be a rumor that Ichika would be taking the winner of the tournament on a date. Every single girl gets hyped, and later, the transfer process of the show continues as a person named Charles Dunois, who is supposedly a guy, enrolls in Mr. Orimura's class, becoming his new roommate. To be completely honest, I was sure that this student would be another one of Ichika's childhood friends as well. Ichika takes Charles around the school as every other girl keeps chasing the two, and after this little chase, the students get ready for a mock battle against Maya. Cecilia and Lin, who were selected for the 2 versus 1 battle against Maya, took the lady as an easy opponent, but the pair ended up getting absolutely wrecked when their sensei defeated them rather earlier than expected. The session proceeded as training afterwards, where Ichika taught the girls how to pilot the IS, as he already has one of his own. The training wraps up, and Ichika has a rooftop picnic with Charles and the girls, where all the girls share their lunch with our guy. Ichika, being the brave guy he is, ends up claiming that Hoki's lunch was the best, making the other two obviously not much happy. Later that same day, the school's tradition continues as another student transfers to Ichika's class. The girl's name is revealed to be Laura Bodewig from Germany, and she doesn't waste any time at all in getting involved with Ichika somehow, slapping him while claiming that he is not worthy enough of being Chifuyu Orimura's brother. After the recent incident, all 3 of the girls are trying to teach some techniques of their own to Ichika. However, our guy neither seems to be interested nor able to understand. Charles offers to have a duel with Ichika so he can gauge his abilities better. The two got into a fight that was matched until Charles fought close up. With Ichika having no sense of long-range combat, Charles easily cornered him and pushed him back to secure the win. Charles explains the problem with Ichika being his defenselessness in a long-range fight, and proceeds to let him use his own sniper rifle to practice some combat. Seeing Charles teach Ichika being rather close seems to bother the girls. The training drill is disturbed by Laura, who comes up to fight Ichika with her own custom armor and shows a lot of aggression, till Charles' intent of not backing out from a fight at all leads her to flee and wait for the upcoming league match to finally get her hands on Ichika. The training for the day wraps up, and Ichika is walking back to the dorms when he comes across Laura, who is having a conversation with Chifuyu. Laura tries to convince Chifuyu to move back to Germany, as this place does not suit her standard, but Chifuyu shuts Laura down after reminding her that she's only 15 years old. Chifuyu remarks that she is aware of Ichika spying on her and tells him to go back and practice more. On his way back, Ichika remembers the events of a while back when Chifuyu, who was in the finals of the second IS championship, had to drop out solely because she had to save Ichika, who had gotten kidnapped. In their room, Charles discloses some secret matter to Ichika, to which he promises to keep the secret. The girls arrive to invite Ichika for dinner, and our guy goes through the standard treatment. While outside, under the night sky, Laura is seen to be revealing her golden eye under her eye patch, vowing to take down Ichika in their next fight. At the school, with the date of the tournament coming close, all the girls start looking forward to going on a date with Ichika, which leads to Hoki getting a little nervous. Hoki resolves herself to absolutely win the upcoming battle at any cost, and she's around the arena where Lin and Cecilia get ready to spar a little against each other for practice. The two get their practice interfered with when Laura comes up out of nowhere and forces the girl to go on a 2-versus-1 duel against her. The duel begins, and Ichika had come up with Charles to spectate the whole thing. The girls did try their hardest against Laura, but it turned out that the difference in levels was too high, when Laura easily defeated the pair despite being outnumbered. Laura proceeds to beat the girls even further to the point where their lives get in danger. Ichika and Charles step onto the battlefield themselves as well to save the girls, and just when their fight wasn't really going towards Ichika's side, Chifuyu arrived and forcibly stopped the duel, prohibiting the students from conducting any sorts of private duels anymore. Lin and Cecilia are transferred to a separate infirmary where their conditions turn out to be so bad they would not be able to fight for a little while. While Ichika is busy with the girls ranting about their problems, a sudden storm of more girls comes up to Ichika in the infirmary, hoping that he would pick one of them in the team battle that is coming up later. Ichika reveals that he will be participating alongside Charles, which leads to the girls being disappointed. The day of the tournament arrives with quite a big twist for Hoki, as Laura, who is going to face Ichika and Charles, gets teamed up with Hoki through the lottery roll. The team duel commences, and Ichika seems to be having the same problem with a linear fighting style just like earlier. Things don't go like last time, since Charles comes up to help Ichika out in the fight with great teamwork. Charles tries to entertain Laura for a while, which leads to Hoki exchanging a blow or two with Ichika, making Laura angry as she throws Hoki away from her way on her fixation for fighting Ichika no matter what the case is. The match seems to be going even between Laura and Ichika, as Charles holds Hoki back with his guns, making her IS malfunction and in the end get disabled. With the help of a brilliant tag team effort and Charles's adopted assault rifles, Ichika's team had managed to push Laura back, seemingly winning the contest, when a flashback showing Laura's past appears. We get to know the poor girl's background, as how she was thrown away by the people who made her an engineered soldier, and how she met Chifuyu, who led to her becoming her ideal role model. With the fear of loss haunting her mind, Laura enters a state where her mind goes berserk and she converts into a dark IS. Ichika tries to fight Laura in her dark IS, but he ends up getting his own completely destroyed in a single attack. Our hero gets emotional after seeing Laura imitate Chifuyu's old IS suit, and before he could do anything reckless, Hoki brings him back to his senses with a slap. Charles steps up to share his energy with Ichika, letting him equip the right hand and the weapon of his suit, and Ichika manages to cut Laura out of her IS after remembering some sword lessons with Chifuyu in his childhood, saving the day in the end. Laura wakes up in the infirmary next to Chifuyu, where our homeroom teacher consoles Laura about the matter and tells her not to stress about being like her and instead follow her own decided path in life, making Laura laugh at her idiocy. The tournament had gotten cancelled due to the incident, but Ichika was having a meal with Charles in the lunch area when the two get approached by Hoki, and Ichika ends up agreeing to go on a date with Hoki regardless of the terms. The next day arrives with the biggest reveal for the students of the Infinite Stratos Academy, as Charles, who is supposedly a dude, enters the classroom as a new female student with her real name being Charlotte Dunois. The sudden realization led to the inevitable, and the girl got mad at Ichika for sharing a room with a woman, bringing even more chaos into the life of our dense main character. Things settle down for now, and a later day brings a small break from all the fights for our guy as Ichika goes shopping with Charlotte on the subway. Just when Ichika arrives at the location of the shopping mall, the other girls are seen following the two with menacing eyes looking to kill Ichika. Cecilia and Lin, who are mad at Ichika, get calmed down by Laura. Now that the three girls stalk his little time off, Ichika's life at the Infinite Stratos Academy continues as he proceeds to improve his skills with the IS when many unknown enemies are looking to cause harm to both him and the Academy, while dealing with multiple women problems along the way. A weird girl in a Shinigami costume, named Guri, visits the doorstep of Aino Seiji and claims that he needs to kiss her in the next 24 hours or else he will die. As any sane man would do, Seiji doesn't take her words seriously. Yuji's reunion with Asako does not go well, as Asako's health starts to get worse at an increasing rate. Yuji received Asako's code number, 9029, from JB, and is assigned to a mission in Colombia.